Hello people and very welcome. I have been asked to give my 2 cents about the upcoming Warlords of Draenor expansion pack. It's a while to go, but they have a lot of patch notes that seem to be definitive, so why not comment on them? I usually don't do this because I like to wait until the patch or whatever is actually released. Otherwise things will just change. But now we're gonna go ahead and comment on this fully. So this video is going to be a lot of talk, not a lot of other stuff. I'm just first gonna say that this is mainly going to be focused on warrior and shaman because that's what I play. I want to compare what is currently going on with those classes and what will happen in the expansion Warlords of Draenor. So currently playing shaman in arena and controlled environment, I should say. Shamans are incredibly weak. They don't have CC. They are hysterically CCable, and that's mainly 2v2, showing by the clip that I'm rolling in the background. This is taken from 3 arenas and it's just CC after CC after CC. And this is what happens currently to every healer and caster class, but mainly shamans because we are so weak when it comes to CC. Also CC is out of control, which is something that we are going to talk about as well. But generally there are classes less affected by CC than others, and since CC is basically the meta thing right now, it's the main thing. Yeah, so some classes are very vulnerable. For example, silence. I don't know if you thought about this. Interrupts and silence are only against casters, while melee classes and of course hunters are not affected by this at all. All casters, mainly shamans, are just completely nerfed by CC at the moment, and some classes have loads of it. When it comes to warriors, warriors are currently, I think, the best class in the game. You have a lot of mobility, a lot of fun playing a warrior. I think they deal reasonable amount of damage right now, and if you do not spec CC, I think the CC is pretty good. The CC warriors have is short, sort of annoying, but they're short. I don't think Stormbolt is sensible. I think Stormbolt would do better if it was a melee. And apparently, looking at the talent tree, you won't be able to spec Shockwave and Stormbolt at the same time, so it will be slightly reduced, and I think Warrior is a great class. Of course, there are a lot of redundant skills, a lot of overflowing skills that Warriors don't need. They have excess skills that they could do without, but you have them. You have to have them bound because, you know, you might have use for them. They will clean a lot of stuff up in Warlords of Draenor though. So again, currently warriors are great. They're reasonable in arena. Shamans are just completely useless. Fun in BGs though. So let's look ahead a bit, shall we? This is Warlord of Draenor TM Alpha Patch Notes for 2014. So yeah, I don't know. This is Blizzard website. I'll link you the site so you can take a look for yourself. New content. Let's check that out first. The talent tree. This is sort of interesting. Shamans, not very interesting. I'm gonna give you what's going on anyway. So spew lava, this is basically making your fire totem spew lava at everybody. Empowers your current fire totem with the power of lava, causing it to spew lava globes of lava, I mean, at random enemies within 40 yards, which is a long, big area. Every 5 seconds for 10 seconds. So yeah, and each globe of lava deals 50% damage. So it's basically a big AoE damage. And I think that would be fun. So this is summoning a storm elemental. This is fun. So upon primal, wait. Oh, you're earth and fire. Maybe you could have a increased powerful storm elemental. I think this is mostly healing, restoration. Summons an air totem with 6,000 health, which doesn't sound a lot, but it's gonna be because they're gonna reduce all stats, meaning that 6,000 health will be like 100,000 health now. I'm not sure though, but you know, you won't be able to one-shot it. Calling forth a greater storm elemental to hurl gusts of wind at the caster's enemies. Each gust of wind deals damage and heals allies. So it's basically, yeah, AoE damage and healing. Basically maybe a burst heal and damage totem, like Healing Tide right now, I would think, but cooler. Shocking Lava, very simple spell for elemental. Your Lava Burst and Lava Lash Yeah, of course, and enhancement. And Lava Lash increase the damage of your next Earth Shock or Flame Shock by 50%, stacking up to 2 times. So that's gonna make Earth Shock deal a lot of damage. That would be interesting to see how that stacks up. Feels like this skill is maybe a bit too simplistic. Yeah, maybe a bit boring, but you know, simplistic isn't always bad. This adds power to an instant, which, you know, makes maybe shamans more viable, a little bit more viable against interrupts and yeah, stuff like that, which is a problem right now. Oh, horsey. Taking a look at warriors. So anger management, every 30 rage that you spend reduce the remaining cooldown of your readiness affected abilities by 1 second. Readiness is cooldown reduction, and some skills are affected by cooldown reduction. So anger management will reduce cooldown, pretty much. So if you keep using rage, you will get less cooldowns on certain spells. Ravager. Throw a whirling axe at target location and inflicts 30% attack power damage to enemies within 8 yards. So it's basically gonna be a range AoE spot thingy. So if you have people snared, you will do AoE damage. Last 15 seconds, so it's pretty easy for people to move out of it, I guess. But it increases your chance to parry by 20% for some reason. You know, so it's a sort of a defensive skill, even though you throw away an axe, so I don't get it. Ignite weapon adds fire damage, basically. This ability is not on the global cooldown, so I guess, yeah. Replaces heroic strike. Oh right, heroic strike. That's the skill you don't use right now, so now it's useful. They also replaced, switched the position of Stormbolt and Bladestorm. That means that you can't have Bloodbath with Bladestorm, and you can't have Avatar with Bladestorm. So, and you also can't have Shockwave with Stormbolt, which is a slight reduction to CC. And again, this is a good thing. It makes more sense putting it here, and that's the point they made. And that's that. The player power by level. This is what it is right now. This is how you increase in level. You see, from level 50 to level 78, not much happens. But at level 80 is so much stronger than a level 78. And then nothing much happens those levels. And I can agree with this. And then suddenly, boosh, you get empowered, and then nothing happens. And then at 90, boosh, you gear up. And then you level up so much. And this is interesting, but because this hasn't been released yet. But I think this maybe is their preliminary, you know, idea of what's going to happen. They're gonna squeeze that down so that you power up slowly. And instead, I think, of having 1,000,000 HP, you're gonna have 100,000 maximum, or less even. Maybe you have a 50,000 HP. But everybody deals 10,000 damage. I mean, they're gonna reduce everything. You're just gonna take everything and split it into, you know, divide it by 10 or whatever. And the monster level, of course, gonna be very similar in reduction. I should tell you that I'm gonna focus mostly on PvP aspect, because that's the big change in Warlords of Draenor. So secondary stat added, interesting. They're gonna remove this stupid hit and expertise, which is boring and, you know, redundant stat. Gonna replace it with bonus armor for tank, multi-strike for attackers or whatever. I don't know, grants a chance for spells and ability to fire an additional time at 30% effectiveness. It's pretty much, yeah, echo of the elements, if you may, or what is it, opportunity strike? Warriors have that, yeah. Readiness, it's a cooldown reduction, and it's gonna be a new stat. Making some spells is gonna be affected by readiness, meaning that they have reduced cooldown when you have readiness. And I think this would be a good way to adapt the flow of your gameplay. Dodge and parry has been replaced with bonus armor, so you will no longer be dodged and no longer be parried. Elemental precision have been removed, since you no longer need hit. That's the thing that increases hit based on spirit, I believe. And spiritual insight no longer increases the chance to hit with lightning bolt, lava burst, hex, or flame shock. Maybe that's the thingy, but this is Anyway, removing expertise and hit. Now this is pretty interesting, player health and resilience. They basically gonna rebalance the game so they don't have to have battle fatigue, which yeah, makes sense, because battle fatigue right now they just add because say if you were playing PvE, you would have a reasonable amount of, you would have the HP you have right now because that is balanced to PvE. And then going into PvP, you would have right now 70% more HP. But instead they add a battle fatigue, which gives you 70% effective HP. Or battle fatigue is actually reduced healing, so... But resilience, you have, what is it? Is it 65% standard right now? So you would have 65% more HP, and you would heal 70% more than you do right now. So basically they give classes damage, healing, and HP based on PvE, and then just add battle fatigue and resilience when you go into PvP. And yeah, it's a cheap way to balance, and it's a boring but I guess necessary stat, but they're gonna remove that. Base resilience reduced to 0, battle fatigue has been removed finally. They're also gonna make crits crit less. They're also gonna make generally people have more HP compared to damage. So you're gonna be able to fight much more. Right now, a class can go in a fight from no HP with 1 heal up to full. That's not gonna be able to happen anymore. Basically, a healer is not gonna have to panic if a player goes down to half HP. Right now, there's no point. There's no saying that a player is safe because they have full HP. A good example of this is the priest HP trade skill, whatever that's called. When you change HP, if you're attacking AI and you bring him down to 10% and the priest change HP to him, there's no point in changing to the priest. It's no point. You can just keep attacking the target and the HP that was switched will go down again. We've done this several times. People do the mistake of changing to the priest and failing to kill him instead of just stay at the target, because having max HP is irrelevant. What's relevant is CCing the healer, reducing or preventing the healer from healing the target for a short time, and you'll be able to kill him. So full HP is worth nothing right now, but in Warlords of Draenor it will probably be. Ability pruning. This is a section where they're basically gonna remove or specify skills to a specific spec rather than having skills available to everybody. In my enhancement video I talked about this. What the hell is Frostbrand and Rockbitter weapon imbue for? You know, what do you use it for? Apparently nothing, because they're gonna remove it. They're just useless. They're just there, never used at all. So they're gonna make Flame Tongue not be available to healers. That makes sense. Frostbrand weapons have been removed. Rockbitter weapon have been removed. Magma Totem is now only available to enhancement shaman. Too bad, because I used it to, you know, make it harder for rogues to sneak up on me. Battle shouts to warriors now have, they just last 1 hour. I've been asking this lately. They are currently used to actually generate rage, meaning that they last for 5 minutes, but you generate rage every 5 minutes, which is a very low amount of rage. If you look at, you know, rage per second kind of dealio. So it wasn't necessary to use it. It was an optimization, but mostly it just went unused. So you have it for 5 minutes and then you just forget to reapply it. So now Battle Shout and Commanding Shout last 1 hour and generate no rage. Cleave has been removed, for good reason, nobody used them. Berserk Stance has been removed, makes sense. Berserker Rage no longer generate rage or increase physical damage dealt. Berserk Rage, I always wondered, it increases damage dealt and it generates rage. But it also removes fear. And removing fear is the main reason you use Berserk Rage. You never want to use Berserker Rage to increase physical damage dealt or generate rage. I mean, specific moments maybe, but in general it's just confusing. Demoralizing Banner has been removed. I don't know why. I used it as a defensive skill, or a defensive Yeah, flag. Thunderclap is no longer available to Fury Warriors. Removing a skill from a spec, it makes sense because it's kind of confusing to have it. They might as well remove it. You might use it once or twice, you know, in a few arenas, but yeah, remove it and balance, you know, everything thereafter. Whirlwind is now available only to Fury Warriors. Too bad, because I use it as a, you know, a stupid AoE skill while speed running heroics. Guess that's not a good reason. Recklessness is now available only to Fury and Arms Warrior, and Recklessness is remade, so it both adds critical strike damage and critical strike chance. So Skull Banner is also gone. It says somewhere, but I don't remember. Hamstring is now passable. Hamstring is now a passive ability that causes Mortal Strike, Blood, Thirst, Revenge, and Raging Blow to also reduce the target movement speed by 50%. So they bake it in pretty much, so you don't have to have Hamstring bound to your charge. Now the interesting part. The first thing I'm gonna say is Hunter pets are gonna have their stuns removed. So CC to pets is gonna be removed, which is incredibly a big relief because that's so damn annoying. So removed silence effect from interrupts. It's about time, because counterspell is just stupid. It used to be like wind shear. You had to use it while someone was channeling something and it only silenced that school. Now it's just, hey, 6 seconds or more silence. That's all it is. And it's just ridiculous and boring and lame, and so they pretty much make it not silence, and all skills is only gonna, you know, remove interrupt the same school. Remove silence from interrupts. Yeah, makes sense. Removed all disarms. Well, hey, sure, why not? I mean, I use disarms a lot. I think it's an okay mechanic, but yeah, you get rid of a skill, so yeah, sure. Reduce the number of diminishing returns. This is categories. Now, apparently all roots and snares, meaning that Frost Nova shares diminishing returns with Earthbind Totem. Yeah, it's Earth Grab. So all roots share the same diminishing returns. Right now, mages are just stupid and silly and ridiculous when it comes to snare. I know that from playing Warrior. You just stand around for 8 seconds and it's super OP. Now apparently there will be a chance that, you know, you get a diminishing return, so you don't stand around looking stupid as much. Exception is root on charge. Finally, charge is gonna be a root instead of a stupid stun. I asked that a lot while playing Shaman. Why the hell is charge and interrupt, meaning also stun? Now it's just going to be a root, meaning that if someone is channeling a spell and you charge him, you won't interrupt. I always ask this. It could be a root. Why has it been a stun? So it's about time. All stuns now share the same diminishing returns. So yeah, you will be likely to, if you get stupid rotations with stuns all the time, you will, yeah, it won't be as effective. It's about time. It's so much about time. Remove the ability to make cost time CC spells instant with cooldown. This is good, so you actually get a chance to choose or prevent someone from CCing you. Finally, it's about time. Removed many CC spells entirely. That's the best sentence ever. Removed many CC spells entirely. And increased the cooldown and restrictions on others. That's very interesting. Pet CC, more limited and often removed. Cyclone now can be dispelled, also about time. I would like to see a deterrence tweak, maybe last longer and only usable once, or maybe also removable in some way. Maybe removable by disarm, which is now removed, but maybe disarm could remove it. That would be cool. PvP triggers now grant immunity to reapplication of an effect from the same spell cost. So that's good, because as of now, if you get cycloned, you can be instantly cycloned again after using a trinket, which is very boring, and that will not happen anymore. You'll be immune from it, which makes trinket better, which is about time, which further nerfs CC. Long fears are now shorter in PvP to account for targets also needing to run back afterwards. It's about time. I also many times commented on this fact that you run away in the completely wrong direction for 8 seconds while being feared, and you're out of the battle for 15 seconds or more or something, I don't know, which is just ridiculous. Apparently that will be shortened now. I hate the aspect of this game removing player choice, meaning being stunned for 15 seconds, having no choice, no chance to remove or do anything or respond. It's not fun, neither for the class stunning or the player stunning or the player being stunned. I mean, it's just greatly, it's just stupid. They could replace it with other mechanics that could be, you know, more active choices would be much better. Additionally, we significantly reduced the number of throughputs, increasing cooldown and procs. In order to further reduce burst damage, please keep in mind we're reading the specific on the patch note that some classes may have lost abilities. What they're talking about here anyway is that since you spend so much time being CC'd, the time you're not being CC'd, you have to deal more damage. I think that's what they're talking about. So now you will have less peak damage because you will have more uptime. I hope that's what this piece says anyway, because that would make sense. Scrolling past every stupid class and looking at Shaman. Ancestral Swiftness no longer turn Hex into an instant cast spell. About time. Also, not that I was very annoyed by that, but you know, anyway, should be a channel. Should be able to be bounced or interrupted. This is funny. Bug fixed. Glyph of Shamanistic Rage should no longer cause Shamanistic Rage to incorrectly dispel unstable affliction or vampiric touch. That has been modified by a PvP for piece set bonus. I'm not sure about this, but apparently there's a bug and they're gonna fix it in about a few months. So that's good. Maelstrom Weapon can no longer make Hex instant or reduce cast time of it, which is also good. Earthgrab Totem now shares diminishing returns with all other root effect. Good. Warrior Charge now roots the target instead of stunning. Good. But it's a separate. It doesn't screw up your root of, for example, Staggering Shout. So you can still root fully. Not have to worry about that when you charge. Warbringer is now instead the way to root the target. But again, Warbringer means that you can only charge once. Which, yeah, so you can't use double up, or is it double tap, or whatever. Intimidating Shout now has a 6-second duration in PvP, which is still entirely too long, but sure, okay. It's 2 seconds less, which is 25% less, which is, yeah, okay. In this movement speed section, I wanted to read that, hey, oh my god, we messed up with monks, hey, what the hell, there's no point in, you know, being ranged against them, because they're always onto you, and, you know, they suffer nothing from being melee. But it doesn't say that. They're gonna make minor tweaks in the way that movement speed stack. So, whatevs. Huh, stupid PvE stuff. A minor thing that they're gonna change. As of now, if I play a Shaman and apply a Flame Shock, the power of that Flame Shock will be what they call Snapshot. And the damage of each and every tick and the speed of the ticks will be affected by the spell power and haste I have when I cast it, which means that you want to reapply it when your stat gets increased from procs. But apparently they're gonna change that now. So if I apply it when I have 1000 haste, it will tick at a certain speed. If I get 2000 haste, suddenly the tick will increase without me having to reapply the spell. So, makes sense. So, for example, if you apply a long-lasting healing tick, you can, well, I don't know, pop haste and make it tick faster without having to reapply it. That's interesting. Reforging is going to be removed. Good, because this is just messing things up. You have to reforge in a certain way. The only interesting thing is, for example, with Shamans, you can reforge either Mastery or Haste, depending on, you know, what you like. So I'm gonna miss that a little bit, but I guess they're gonna complement with other ways of, you know, making this, you know, thing. This is something, facing requirements. I wanted to read that Anytime you channel a spell, I mean, for example, if you channel a lightning bolt towards a mage, if the mage blinks through you, the spell is interrupted, which is an incredibly annoying thing. Also, if a melee is onto you and incredibly annoying running around you, like a druid glitching around, for example, with the massive haste benefits, if you channel a spell and he happens to be behind you by the microsecond that spell goes up, is interrupted, and you basically wasted a second and a half. Or wait, with pushback you probably channel it for at least 2-3 seconds or something. That's not gonna be the thing. The phasing requirement is just based on, you know, you don't have to be behind players to ambush, for example. Sure thing. I read something about professions. Professions is not gonna add a benefit in PvP. That's too bad, because I really like that. I hope they keep the benefit in battlegrounds, meaning that you can use nets, for example, which is really fun. And the back enchant from tailoring is awesome for burst damage. And yeah, I mean, engineering skills are really fun. So I hope they keep those things in BGs, but in arenas, sure, remove them, fine. Wait, can you actually proc back enchant in arena right now? I mean, tailoring back enchant? I think you can. Right now I'm not sure. Now we're gonna scroll through all these stupid classes and look at the interesting classes. These are a lot of changes coming up. I'm gonna try to point out the most, I think, interesting changes. Elemental shamans were one of the specs most impacted by movement, meaning that we have to just stand around to channel our spells, which is something, again, I commented on. You have to stand still to channel your spells, people line of sight you, and you get very exposed to melee characters. And all of them have a lot of interrupts. Apparently they're gonna make it even more vulnerable, so they're gonna remove lightning bolt channel, for example, so you will have to stand around to channel it, for example. Right now you can run around, and yeah, sure, going back to the roots of casters, having to stand still and channel. But how do you kite melee characters? If you ever will be able to do that. How do you do that? I don't know. But they will apparently pull back the ability for many casters to deal damage while moving, so sure. We will still have Spirit Walker's Grace, and yeah, I liked it when you had to use Spirit Walker's Grace. Right now it's unnecessary to use Spirit Walker's Grace to channel Lightning Bolt. You only use it for Elemental Blast. Echo of the Elements will be redesigned. The Shaman spell's ability has a chance to trigger Echo of the Elements, causing their next short cooldown spell or ability not to trigger a cooldown, meaning that if I use Earthshock and Echo of the Elements proc, I don't get another attack of it, I get an instant cooldown, which means I can use it again if I want to. I'm guessing this will, since Earthshock and Flameshock and Frostshock shares cooldown, maybe that's, you know, you can use an Earthshock and then instantly follow up by a Frostshock if you want. Smart healing is going to be changed. Right now you can put down a healing stream totem. It will heal the most damaged target, but apparently now it will change so it heals a random damage target. I don't know what I think about this change. They're going to make healing a little bit harder, I guess, or a little bit. You have to choose, you have to control your healing, and that's probably more engaging for a lot of healers, I guess. I have a hard time seeing that this would be needed in PvP, but PvE, I guess. PvP, I think that the smart healing works well, meaning healing the most damaged target helps. But I guess when CC is reduced or balanced, you might be able to, you know, actually use other heals. Warrior changes? Recklessness now increased critical strike chance and critical strike damage. Yes, I said. Shattering Throw is no longer reduced the armor of the target, only does damage and break immune. Yeah, okay. It doesn't break the turn still, I guess, or... Wait, what is it? Wait, yeah. Can Cyclone be removed now then? I don't remember. Or was it only with Dispel? Maybe it works with Shattering Throw too. I wish Shattering Throw went back to being instant, or, you know, half a second cast or something. Or not have global. Would be nice, but yeah. It's gonna be simplified more or less. And apparently is now going to be a glyph instead. Now apparently haste is going to be redesigned. I always thought about this with haste because it doesn't do much really. Or, you know, it increases your auto attack, I would guess. Does it reduce your global cooldown? I'm not sure. Anyway, haste is now going to affect readiness spells. Which is again going to be spells affected or being able to reduce cooldown on. So we're giving all warriors a new passive, which lets haste affect their global cooldown and the cooldown of their very short cooldown rotation abilities. Meaning, yeah, spells affected by readiness. Also, it says that it's now gonna affect their global cooldown, so currently it doesn't, I guess. Headlong Rush is a new passive ability for warriors. Headlong Rush, haste, reduce global cooldown and cooldown of Mortal Strike, Bloodthirst, Shield Slam, and Thunderclap. Interesting. Sudden Death can no longer trigger from Opportunity Strike. Oh, okay. Changes to Protection Warriors. Second Wind is going to be redesigned. Second Wind no longer directly heals the warrior while active. Instead, Second Wind grants the warrior 10% leech while active, which causes the warrior to heal for 10% of all damage and healing done by the warrior while active, meaning that dealing damage heals you. So that's good. I guess that being when you're under 30%, you get 10% lifesteal, pretty much. So, oh yeah, I like that. Meaning that you don't, when Second Wind, when you go low, you don't jump behind a pillar and line of sight. You actually have to stay in the fight. Bladestorm no longer allows the use of shouts. You could actually fear people while spinning around. You can't do that anymore. You can't though taunt enraged and use enraged regeneration. Also shield wall. Shield wall will only be able to be usable for protection warriors now, I think. I have a feel. I think I read it somewhere. So that's all that I have to comment on. I basically think the changes is gonna change the feel of PvP. It's gonna clean up a lot. It's gonna make it less chaotic. Whether or not you're gonna actually notice it much, yeah, you're gonna notice that it's not a face roll 2v2 arena. I think the 2v2 arena will be more dynamic and it will be more, choice based. I mean, going in with a shaman in 2v2, you can have games where you don't have a choice. You go in and you're dead before you're able to do anything. While other classes is greatly, much better at doing stuff. But I think all these changes will actually make 2v2 maybe playable. I'm not sure. I guess it will. I wish that CC again. I wish CC did not exist. I think that CC would be maximum 2.5 seconds. I don't think that would hurt the game. They would have to balance around it, but I think there's much more fun mechanics in the game. Oh, also garrisons. This is something I'm really looking forward to. I hope you can modify it a lot or personalize it a lot. Then I can have a nice garrison with you guys. Hopefully you can put up, signs and things. I don't know. Doing in-game commenting or using comments from YouTube and putting them in the game like that. So that's very interesting. Just to finish up, we're gonna take a look at hunters. Hunters have lacked a strong distinction between different specializations, and I guess I agree with that. Basically, it doesn't matter what you do. Please see ability pruning and PvP crowd controlling and diminishing returns. Yeah, hopefully their stupid damn CC will be a little bit, more important to time and not to just spam and jump around. But apparently CC from pets is going to be removed. All full crowd control abilities has been removed from hunter pets and replaces those abilities with new abilities. A stupid thing I wish they would change with hunters is generally pets. There was a time where pets actually got sad when they died, meaning if they died, if you didn't care about them and let them die, you would have to reward them. You will have to feed them, make them happy again. Right now, there's no downside to a pet dying. I mean, if you kill a hunter pet, he will be able to resurrect it in 2 seconds. With a channel that is uninterruptible, you can interrupt it with stun only, and it doesn't suffer from pushback suffering. In the old days, you needed to channel for, what was it, like 10 seconds or something. You were an idiot if you let your pet die. And that should be the case. Right now, you can actually go in arena, just stand behind a pillar and send out your pet attacking the enemy. And you can just line of sight the guy. And, you know, put pressure on him. And if he kills the pet, you resurrect it. And you can run in with the pet again. So it's basically like a dot that you can't get rid of. You can, of course, snare and, you know, knock away the pet. But all in all, you won't be able to stay away from a stupid pet. At least not if they have charge and leap and things, you know. But honestly, a hunter can stand line of sight and keep attacking you with the pet. And a pet deals a lot of damage. And again, if they just waste their pet, they can just resurrect it with no drawbacks. Maybe they even get their skill reset. I don't know. I hope not. So that's all I have to share with you. These were all my takes on the patch note Warlords of Draenor. And hopefully you learned something from it, if you don't have time to read all of this and you got my input on it. So you will now have a really nice day, and I shall edit this and then go to bed hopefully. Thanks for watching and have a really nice day. Goodbye.